Are you afraid of raising your prices in your business? Are you concerned that your customers or clients may leave you if you do raise your prices? If so, you are in the right place. Kevin Weir, your action business coach, helping you achieve your business dreams. And in this video today, I want to show you how you can learn to raise your prices and retain as many of your customers or clients as possible. And by the time you've got finished with this video, you'll have 5 solid areas that you can use to increase prices and still make your customers happy regardless of how much you raise prices. Now, I hear this all the time. Kevin, I can't raise my prices. I'm going to lose customers. Well, here's the truth, is that you're probably more than likely not charging enough in the first place. You probably in many respects have razor thin margins and are trying to overcome that with volume. And you know what? That's a losing proposition. Because here's the thing. Inflation is going to happen. Your costs are going to increase. You have to realize that you have no choice but to pass on price increases to your customers. Now, that seems scary. Raising prices is always a frightening process of being a business owner. But let's go through 5 very distinct steps that you need to do in order to properly raise your prices. Now let's go ahead and get started. Number 1 is you need to do what I call a margin audit. What I want you to do is I want you to pick the top 10 products or services that you sell today. I want you to go ahead and do a gross profit analysis. How much labor and material goes into the cost of the product or services versus how much you actually charge the customer, and take a look at what those profit margins are on each of those products or services. I will bet you dime to donuts that at least 2, maybe 3 of them are grossly underpriced and they're not as profitable as you would like. That's a great starting point. Now, are there products that customers you might be considered that might be price sensitive? Yes, and at the same time, if you do increase the price and you lose a few of those customers, the price increase is going to be more than made up on the margins that you would lose from losing a customer. So look at that margin audit, take a look at increasing prices on those low margin items. Now, number 2 is you need to pick your move. What do I mean by that? Take a look at how you go about doing the price increase. One way of doing that is the percentage increase. You probably want to raise, let's say, 2%, 3%, 5%. Your customers are probably even going to notice. Now, another way of doing this is what I call the tiered price approach. So let's say you have one product that you sell or one service that you sell. What if instead you created 3 products or services and you did a good, better, best? Where you basically said, okay, the good is going to be my low margin one. It's not really that valuable. The better is going to have a decently good margin, and the best is going to have your highest margin. What's going to happen? Most people are going to gravitate to the middle one. They don't want just the good because it's not enough for them. They don't have the funds to afford the best. So the better is good, and if its margin rate is better than what you have right now, you're on the right track. Third one is charging ancillary costs. Let's say that you have rush packages that you have to get. Customer wants something like now. You should have a rush fee on that. Let's say that you have minimums. Let's say that somebody orders X amount of products and you need to have a minimum on there. Anything below the minimum gets a minimum charge. That's something that you can do to increase revenue through utilizing ancillary expenses to improve your margins. So now, number 3 is what I call a value stack. Now, you never just raise prices. You want to increase the perceived value of the product. And so what you can do is you can frame it in such a way that by raising prices, you're going to increase the perceived value of the product. So let's say, for example, that you raise the price, but then you add on something else to the product that demonstrates an increased value of the product. The actual hard cost of that value will always be lower than the price increase, but the perception is, in many respects, is actually the reality is you make the product better anyway. So you need to basically take a look at that value stack and say, hey, if I increase prices, what increase in value does that product bring to my customers that justifies the price increase? Now, number 4 is communicate clearly. When you raise prices, you need to have a very strong communication plan to ensure that the customer or client or patient knows of the price increase and when that's going to happen. So how you announce it matters. Let's say that you said, instead of saying, well, we're increasing our prices on this date. Let's say instead you said, well, we're going to increase our prices starting on this date, and this will allow us to do X that will improve the overall experience that you get as a customer, client, patient. So frame it in such a way that it demonstrates that the price increase helps justify an improvement in the standards of the service product that you are bringing to the forefront. People want that. And then number five is that you need to handle pushback. You're going to get people who don't want to raise prices. And so you have to help them understand the value that they're getting. You basically communicate with it directly and said, I understand your concern. This is why we're doing this, and help them understand the reason behind the price increase. But here's the thing. There are going to be some of your customers, clients, patients who are going to just want the old price. They don't want to change. They want to go find somebody else. You know what? You might want to lose them anyway. There's a concept of where we grade customers A, B, C, and D. A customers are your best. They love the product. They are your friends. They really like using your product. The B customers are the normal run-of-the-mill customer, which pays the bill and moves on. C customers are ones who complain and are never satisfied. And then the D's are what we call the dead customers. They just don't pay the invoice, and then you have to go out and chase money after them. So your C and D customers are going to complain, and maybe you need to lose them. Sometimes it's okay to allow C and D level clients and customers to move on and be somebody else's headache. And it's going to be basically giving you a better experience. Your team will probably actually like it if they can get rid of some of these C and D customers who just drain the energy out of them. So let's face it, here's the truth. You don't lose customers by raising prices. You lose customers by undercharging, not having enough margin to to fund your own business, and then closing your business. That's how you lose people. You need to understand that you have to have the courage of your conviction to do what you know is right, and that is raise your prices so you can have the kind of margin that you need to grow, expand, and improve your business. And yes, you will lose maybe a few percentage of people in your business, and you have to be okay with that. Now, if you're struggling with this concept of raising prices, I'm offering 2 weeks of free coaching. I want you to go ahead and click below, sign up, and then let's walk through how you're going to raise prices. Because deep down inside, let's face it, you know you need to raise prices. It's scary. It makes you nervous. It gives you a pit in the stomach, and you just feel that fear coming on you. I want to walk you through that so that you can go ahead and have a successful price increase and grow your business so you can take it to the next level.